hold me back. We gon' set this thing on fire, lay hands on diseases, yeah, that sickness is gon' die, Jesus in his seated at the right hand of the Father, so my spirit fresh like www. The devil is a lie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Amen. Hallelujah. I'm super excited. We want to welcome you to our Lifeline TNT's True Story. Our slogan is the truth will make you free. Not set you free, but it'll make you free. So we tell the truth here and we talk about topics that most people don't like to talk about, but the church needs to talk about because it's the world's view of things and they need to see what the world sees, needs to see it from God's eyes and they need to see it from a biblical perspective. So we talk about things that people go through on a regular basis. We talk about topics that are able to help people know how they can come out because the Bible says that we overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So I'm your host, Dr. Taryn in Tarver-Bishop. TNT. I'm your modern day grandma now. I'm actually really a grandma. Even though last week I was sliding into first base and I was getting a home run. I didn't get a home run, but I ran in. I scored. But I'm excited about that. But today we have a special podcast for you. I'm excited. I've known this gentleman for quite some time, and I bring him on throughout the years to talk about the truth about love and sex. Amen. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about not you and me. All the good things and the bad things, that may be. We're going to talk about God kind of sex, okay? He is a relationship science coach, but he's also a doctor, and he does neuroscience relationships worldwide specialist. And this is one of the things where you go to him for not only behavioralists and behavior therapy and sex therapy, but he breaks down the science of the brain and the mind, how we function and how God created us to function. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody break it down the way that you do. And I love that because a lot of people you can hear talk about it, but they're talking about it from a world point of view. So I want you guys to welcome Dr. Ryeal Simms.
Thank you.
He is the leading author on the neuroscience of relationships worldwide. He has podcasts, he's a motivational speaker. He has been able to do some amazing things. He's been on formerly the relationship expert for Stevie Wonder's KGLH, when he co-hosted London's Love Talks. He's been able to do so many great things on the UK Real Love Show. He's been able to do all these dating shows and these mate shows in London, I guess, in the UK. You can go on and on and on and on. He's been all over the world, been called on by the greatest, and he's here with us today. I want to know, first and foremost, how did you get involved with this?
Yeah.
It's not like you wake up and be like, you know what? I'm going to be a life sex coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a doctor, and we're gonna just talk about sex all day long. Like, I don't think you just woke up one day. So how did this happen?
Yeah. So I started off with just relationships and talking about relationships, but I also started off as a singer. So when I was a vocalist, our manager would tell us that we had to write our songs.
You were a singer?
Yeah, I used to sing.
Let me hear you.
I can't now.
Let me hear. Just toot a little bit. I can't sing, but I be trying all the time. So I can't sing, but let me hear a little song.
Lady, I'm your knight in shiny armor, and I love you.
We'll take it. Of course you had to pick a love song. I love that.
Well, that was it.
I like love songs, like Lady in Red.
Well, see, that was it. The manager would have us to write songs, but they
Yeah.
wanted us to write dancing songs, right? So I was always submitting love songs. They was like, "What's going on, man? We want some dancing songs." I was like, I just love, love songs." And from there, I was just so interested in understanding love,
Okay.
and just to get that real understanding. So from there, I started to just, join more events about relationships and everything. And then I became a coach. And then I said, okay, I still need a little bit more than just the coaching part. I needed to know a little bit more about the science of it, why
How
we
old
do
were you
what
when
we
this
do.
happening?
Oh, this started like in my 20s, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Early
So
20s,
I had a
mid-20s?
journey. I had a journey
Early
that I was
20s,
going to.
mid-20s?
Yeah, mid-20s, late 20s.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So I had this journey. So from there, I found myself being on panels with other relationship experts, and we were pretty much saying the same thing, right?
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I want
You're
to take
thinking
it to a
they're
next
saying
step.
it. You're thinking it, they're saying
They're
it.
saying
So
it.
you're like, I think I got something.
Yeah, and I wanted to
Okay.
take it to a next step, right?
Okay.
So that's when I decided, hey, I need to go back to school. I wanted to learn a little bit more about, why we do what we do from an eco-bio-psychosocial and spiritual point of view. So, took psychology, a lot of psychology classes, degrees, and everything, And then I was like, okay, I'm good on learning the psych of relationship, but now I wanted to go a little deeper. I wanted to know more about the brain. What's really happening when we interact in relationships? So, and what's going on with the body when we're interacting with relationships? So, okay. So now I got to go back to school again and learn a little bit more
Okay.
about neuroscience and biology, right? And then from there, I just came out and was like, okay, I'm ready. I want to talk about the real thing. I want to really talk about why we do what we do, right?
So why do we do what we do?
Yeah.
Okay, why do we do what we do? I mean,
Yeah.
literally, God has his natural design for us, but then life impacts us. And just even, we had you on and we were talking about like the decisions people make, but there's all kind of, norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine receptors, all these mechanisms with chemicals in your brain that actually are contributing to what we do.
Absolutely.
And then the fact of learning, I taught on Sunday about how to kind of like rewire and refire
Yes.
the brain.
Yes.
And that, the functioning of neurons in your brain and that create pathways, that create habits, and we can form new pathways and new habits.
Yes,
But
yes.
how would you say like God intended for us to function versus how we function, and why do we function that way? And I think you talk a little bit about programming, that there's certain ages that you're programmed by your environment, by what you've seen and all those different things, and that shapes kind of who you are. And then when is that time that we discover like, I need to change who I am, and how do we make those shifts? So if you could just speak to us.
Yeah. So in a part of our life, we have some studies to say that the brain doesn't fully develop until about 23.
25.
But there's some other new studies too. They're saying it's even before 25, right? Too as well. However, this is the point when we start to discover self, right? Within that period, 23, 25, right? And I think it's really interesting how the brain is actually connected to everything, right? And when we get to this certain part of our life and notice that there's differences as we get older, when we're dealing with not just life, but when we're dealing with relationships, when we're dealing with sex, when we're dealing with having to make decisions, when we're dealing with this thing that we call the prefrontal cortex, our CEO, to make those decisions, right?
So CEO, break down.
Yeah.
The function of our prefrontal cortex, the CEO, talk about that for a second. What is that, and how does that determine the type of decisions we make?
Yeah, so the prefrontal cortex, like right in the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex is our decision making. It helps us to analyze, to help us to see life real, right? And we do have to be careful too when we're talking about relationships too, because when we get into relationships, we develop or we experience certain amount of chemicals, right? So when we get in relationships, like I usually say, relationships, when you fall in love, it doesn't take a lot of effort to fall in love. It takes effort to stay in love.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? So when we're dealing with the beginning stage of a relationship, that's when we start experiencing these chemicals, the chemicals that you named.
The arrows, is that that arrows stuff?
Yes,
like
yes.
That erotic, that sprung feeling, like we like the feeling of the relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Was it you that taught me that it really only lasts about 18 months naturally, and then you have to do things that you have to try to to maintain that feeling,
Absolutely.
and you can.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So
but people are usually they get addicted to the feeling, the chemical feeling, really.
Yes.
And they don't know that you're chasing a feeling.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's why relationship is a choice and a feeling. Both. It's both.
Choice
Because
and a feeling.
Yeah. Because what you're doing is you're actually experiencing the chemicals that you named, right? The natural chemicals that's designed by the laws of nature, right? That God gave us to keep us bonded, like the phenylethylamine, serotonin, dopamine, all of these certain chemicals. Now, when we get into the relationship and we run into this altered state of consciousness, this high, this euphoria, you're like, oh my God, our relationship is so great, nothing will ever happen. We don't have to communicate. It's just totally awesome. And so that's when we're on this what do people say, the honeymoon stage, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't see any wrong, right? And
no red flags.
Yeah, no red flags. You don't see anything. But what happens is actually, so when we are receiving this cluster of chemicals, what it does is it actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex.
What?
So when it shuts the prefrontal cortex, we can't think straight.
That's why when they're like, you didn't see he had no teeth in the front.
Yeah.
You didn't notice.
Right.
That there was like 6 fingers on one hand.
Right.
You didn't see these things. And you're like, I mean, I did, but I didn't.
Right.
Like you're not fully aware. But
Right.
they're there, you're just oblivious to them because of the prefrontal cortex is having this euphoric feeling that blinds you, kind of.
Yeah, so once it shuts it down, then it's not allowing you
Is that why people get married in the first 2 weeks or a month? And they're like, make it last forever. And then they're like, what happened?
And then when they wake up, when they wake up, they
Reality.
go, oh, whoa, when reality hits, absolutely.
Right, reality.
Because that's the stage. That's the stage. It's once it shuts down, you're having a whole bunch, you're having a great time and everything, you're loving and like, you're so cute. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, I love you. I love you too, But then what happens is...
I never felt like this before.
Yeah. I never felt like this before. So then what actually happens is those chemicals, now they don't die out.
Right.
So I have to correct, because, some people say, think it dies out, because we don't want those chemicals. We don't want the phenylethylamine, the serotonin, the dopamine, vasopressins, and all of those, because those are bonding chemicals. Those are actually the chemicals that keep you loving each other. Those are the chemicals that keep you together, right? But what happens is it decreases. That's what we have to understand, they actually decrease. We don't want it to go. You just want it to decrease.
So you talked to me, I believe, and let me see how good my memory is.
Yeah.
They decrease as we get into patterns and everything becomes so norm. Like you're setting in the normal. Before it's like things are new.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
We're building together. We're doing this together.
Yeah.
And then you start getting into like a routine that's kind of like simple.
Right.
And when it's simple, the the chemicals are dying down because there's nothing exciting happening. Is that kind of like why?
Right. Now it's time. When I said it doesn't take much effort to fall in love, right? It takes effort to stay in love, right? To work in your relationship, right? So now it's time to work at the relationship, right? So when the chemicals start to decrease, now you're starting to rise, and now you're starting to see reality. You're starting to see the real thing, right? And so now this is the time where you realize all the state of consciousness, that euphoria, that high that you had. Now it's time to concentrate and to focus on a real relationship, the real communication, understanding your non-negotiable requirements, your needs, your wants, understanding each other, learning how to communicate with each other is so important. So now it's time to work at the relationship. Sometimes what happens too, it was a thing that was called the 4-year itch back in the day, actually the 7-year itch, I'm sorry. The 7-year itch, where it gets to the point after 7 years, now you start looking at each other different. You start learning other, real things about a person, like, oh, you're leaving the socks in the, you're leaving your underwear, you're squeezing the toothpaste in the middle and stuff like that, right? So now it went from 7 to 4 to now 2 years. They're saying within 2 years of a relationship, it may break up.
Oh, wow.
Because now you have to start, thinking about the reality of this real relationship. Wow. You have to really start thinking about what's going on, communicating. And then some people don't want to work at that. Why? Because we are addicted to the high of a new relationship. So we think we are supposed to leave the relationship because it's time to work at the relationship.
Wow.
Right?
Wait. Mm-hmm. So, when it's time to work and to make it work, what do you need to do during that time? Like, I mean, I can answer what I think, but I don't. Right now, I want to hear from your
working at the relationship is learning each other, understanding one's communication. So when we say relationship, you usually hear a good relationship is communication. Yes, but what we don't say is we all communicate.
Yes.
So if communication is the key, then we would all be in a wonderful relationship. What it is understanding one's communication.
Whoa. Understanding one's communication.
Absolutely. Understanding it, because we all communicate, right? We communicate verbally and we communicate non-verbally.
Yeah.
Right? So it's impossible because, sometimes you hear people say, well, we don't communicate anymore. No, you just stop communicating verbally, right? But you're communicating, also, physically you're communicating. Non-verbally you're communicating. So you're sending off signals just through body language, but you're still communicating, right? And so that's why it's so important to understand one's communication. And that's why it's important to learn communication skills, even something as simple as, so what I'm hearing you say is.
Right. I love that one. I try to bring that up to everybody. Like, you have to say, so what I want to hear you saying is, and what you find out is what you thought you heard them communicate, they didn't say.
Absolutely.
And you're like, wait a minute, what did you just... No, I heard you say this. You're like, no, that's why you ask the question back to them. Yeah. So in a good relationship, I was telling people, okay, so what I heard you say is that a relationship doesn't lose those chemicals. They just die down.
Yeah, they just decrease.
And then say, and then maybe he said something like, and I say, so they decrease. And you said that the relationship's over? And then you would say, no, that's not what I said.
Right.
What I said was, and you as a person, oh, okay, got it. But most people don't do that. They say, no, what I said was this. Nope, you said this. No, you said this. No, you didn't. No, you said this. They're like, so you're in a miscommunication all the time.
That's right, absolutely. And it's the beauty of it. Look, let me tell you, we all have the skill to communicate. We really have the skill to communicate. If you graduated from grammar school, if you graduated from high school, graduated from college, you had the respect to listen, to be an empirical listener in order to respond correctly. You had the skills to listen because you would listen to the teacher, right? When you had a problem, you raised your hand to get clarification, right? From the teacher, right? You asked the teacher, I don't understand. Could you explain that a little bit more, right? So check this out. You give the respect, all of those years that you went to high school, college, gave the respect to the teacher, how to communicate, how to learn, how to understand. So you know you have that same skill, and that same skill that you can use in a relationship.
So good.
And we don't use it.
Wow.
It's the same. So if you gave the respect to the teachers, give the respect to your significant other.
Yes. Wow.
Wow.
You're already trained. You have the skill. You have the communication skill
So why don't
already.
we use that skill? What is it that says it? Is it pride? Is it arrogance? Is it I think I know, right? Which is still pride.
I want to be right.
Or I want to be right.
That's good.
Or I don't have to listen to you. Is
Yeah.
it, can it be for men, male chauvinistic stuff?
Absolutely.
Is it women?
I'm a man.
I'm overpowering you. What is that?
Absolutely.
Tell me about
Absolutely.
that.
Because so with our communication, that's one of the major things that we want to do is want to be right. I want to be right. I'm a man. You're a woman, which is so crazy because God said he brought woman to help. So if she doesn't have a word, then what good is she to you then?
Jesus.
Right? So having those communication skills, as we talked about before, what I'm hearing you say is, it's the same thing that you used when you were in school. So teacher, so you're saying 2 + 2 is 4? And she's like, yes, right. Oh, I got it. So it's the same thing when you're in a relationship. So what I'm hearing you say is, and then when you repeat what she said or he said, right? And then when you repeat it, the person will say, and then you can also say, is that right? And they can say yes or no if you're right or wrong, right? And if they say yes, you're right, then you can say, is there more? You ask them, is there more? And they say, yeah, there's a little bit more. And then let them explain a little bit more.
I like that.
Right? And then you could say, oh, okay, I got it. So what I'm hearing you say is, right, when we're in a relationship, chemicals decrease. They don't just vanish completely because we need those chemicals to keep us bonded.
Yeah.
So please understand that, because a lot of people are saying, love is just only a choice.
Right.
But it's a choice and a feeling, because understand what love is, when we mentioned the chemicals, right? Those chemicals are doing something to you. Those chemicals are having a emotional response. So when I ask somebody, when I'm in a debate with this and people say, no, love is a choice. And I say, okay, so just explain to me then, what is love to you? Well, love is opening the door for my wife. Love is my wife cooking for me. Love is buying flowers for my wife. I'm like, okay, but what emotional response do those things do to her?
And that's where people are missing it, because they can be loving you how they want to be loved, but not how you need to be loved. Because you're communicating how you need to be loved, or what you like, and either people haven't done took the time to study you.
That's right.
And you have to study a person to know what they like.
That's right.
If I
Absolutely.
keep bringing you chocolate cake and you're allergic to chocolate cake, I'm not going to help you.
That's
and
right.
you want me to have credit for bringing you chocolate cake.
Right. Absolutely.
And you're mad because I'm not appreciative that you brought me chocolate cake. I appreciate you brought me cake, but can you please bring me just Costco cake if you're going to bring it? I don't need the rest.
That's right. And it's not going to make you feel good.
It doesn't make me feel good. And it can cause allergic reaction. But if you find yourself repeating yourself 4 and 5 times, you feel like you're not listening to me.
That's right.
You don't really care. After a while, you start getting this preconceived thing about your life and their life, and you're like, you don't really care. You're not really listening, and you don't pay attention. And then you're saying, why would you say those things about me? You're saying, because I've mentioned it like 10 times, and in case you notice it, every time I have a breakout, I can't eat it.
That's right.
And they're just like, they're not either paying attention. So the truth is you have to cause yourself to pay attention and want to desire to know the person. I created this sheet recently because we're going to put together this relationships group, because realistically we have had 7 in this church in the last 6 weeks, 7 engagements. And 3 marriages.
Wow.
In the last 6 to 7 weeks.
Wow, that's totally awesome.
And I told them, I said, next, well, one thing that I knew that this is going to be a house of love. We call it the House of Liberty at our church, but a house of love, relationships. I'm big on character building. It's huge for me. My first ministry was called Women of Noble Character. Then it was Souls of Noble Character. So it's huge characters, big with me, not being offended, forgiveness, walking in love, paying attention to detail, all those different things. So in the midst of that, when we first got the church, which hasn't even been a year, it'll be a year next week on the 24th. We've been here a whole year.
Oh, good.
God did it. God did it. God did it.
Congratulations.
God did it. So the first day we opened the church, we had a wedding.
Yes.
Very first day.
Wow.
During that year, last year, we did 4 weddings.
Yeah.
And I spoke, and by prophetically, the Lord was like, there's going to be relationships and family and marriages and engagements this next year, a lot.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was going to happen so fast.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
absolutely.
like, I had no idea. And one of the things I was not prepared for is one of those was he was 19 years old in, my 19-year-old son.
Oh, wow.
I was like, what? And he kept saying, like, Mom, I'm going to be married by the time I'm 21. I was like, if you don't sit down and, like, calm down, like, you're not getting married by 21, you know. Right. But he's saying this, and he's really young, and he kept saying it, he's saying it. And truth be told, he went off to college his first year, and he found his now wife, Jasmine, and they do business and ministry together. But there are things that I learned that I'm like, can I impart this into you? And they were paying attention, and they started doing the work. And I started saying, well, what does it mean to be a husband? And if you ask a lot of men that, they can't give you a real answer. What does it mean? What does God say a husband is? Yeah. What does God say? What does it take when you're at your worst end? Are you ready to give yourself away and help that person? Are you ready to learn another person? Are you ready to study? It's not what's in it for me. It's what can I give if you're going to have a good relationship.
That's right.
Because the word love, ahava, is the word, it's a form of giving. You're giving up yourself.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
you're choosing to love. For God to love,
That's
he gave.
right.
And so from there on, like, I saw these kids really make a shift and begin to really study one another and improve and work together and begin to build. And all these young people are now wanting to come in a relationship, and I want to make sure that they understand these things. So some questions I asked was, I said, write down on a piece of paper, and I have this whole sheet for them, and I give them the sheet now so that I don't have to write it down, just fill out the answers. What are your likes?
Yes.
Give me 10 of your likes.
Yes.
Give me, what are 10 things you don't like?
Yes.
What to you is like a deal breaker?
Yes.
What places do you want to go? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? What is there anything you're allergic to? Is there, have you had any traumatic things happening?
That's right.
Because I found out people are like listening, but they're not really listening.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, if I can help these relationships to get going, I want them to know these things ahead of time.
Right. Absolutely.
So say you guys are in a situation, you need to know how to bring them back down.
Yeah.
If you're at all the way 10, you need to come back down. You need to know how. You need to know how they got there. So you need to learn the person. Yeah. So I started putting together things like to learn one another and to know. And by knowing, some things people are just not paying attention. What is that? And how in like creating, in the beginning, I'm trying to create it so that they can know each other. And you even know their pattern. Your triggers. Yeah. What are your triggers? Yeah. You need to know your triggers. And last week I talked about how to break the trigger.
Yes.
How to not get people to dance around your trigger, but how to deal with the trigger.
Yes.
or trauma or what's happened in your life that might bring a reaction, because what they don't recognize is you're having a total schema moment where these chemicals are causing you to react in a way of flight or fight mode because of something that happened to you, and you don't even know you're acting like that.
That's right. Absolutely.
And you can't see it because
Absolutely.
the chemicals have been released in your body, and everybody around you is like, what's the matter? You're like, why does everybody keep asking me that? You're like, because we can see it.
That's right.
The Bible
Absolutely.
said that Cain, when he came to Cain, he goes, why is your face so downcast?
Yeah.
So it was first happened it is not in his verbal, but it was in his body language, his nonverbals.
Absolutely.
And he says, why is your face so downcast? It's first thing, he's looking down because his thoughts are negative, so he's looking down. Why is your face so downcast?
Yes.
And then he tells him an answer how to fix it. If you do right, will you not be accepted? He said, but choose, because sin, that thing you're looking down at, the thing you're meditating on, the thing that you're focused on, the thing that's affecting your face, the thing that's affecting your attitude, is crouching at your door. And God leaves him to make a full adult, conscious, because he's told you, decision of what to do. And he chose to continue to meditate on the negative, and he chose to choose thinking down, because I used to rep depression medication, and in depression medication, it's like, even if somebody gives you a report, you can know right then and there if they actually received it as negativity or they see it from a positive light. Because a lot of people, the first thing when they tell you, you'll see someone, they'll say, okay, so we discovered that you have stage whatever cancer, and it doesn't look too good, and the doctor's reading this whole thing to you, and you'll see people, and some of them will start doing this. Why? They're looking up because they've already looking up to the Lord. They're looking up like, I'm not dying. This is not the end of me. I refuse to go under.
Yes.
And they've trained themselves to be positive.
That's right.
And to receive what God is saying.
That's right.
Then there's the other person that while he's talking, the first thing they do is,
Right.
how long do I have?
Yes. Yes.
Is there anything we can...
Yes.
And they already, and the shoulders go down.
That's right.
So you knew by the words God was speaking is, why is your face so downcast? It was already negative. You already received that. As opposed to the fighter that says, they put their shoulders broad and they're like,
That's right.
I don't receive it. There's a posture and a body posture of negativity you either carry or positivity that will
right.
determine your success or your failure.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yesterday, this might sound strange, but I have one of my spiritual daughters, she deals with a lot of like negative thinking, and she's been fighting it her whole life. So now we're working on renewing your mind. We're working on increasing your thoughts. We're working on memorization of saying who God says you are by speaking and decreeing, by meditation, seeing yourself strong and overcoming power and all these things. And so I had to put her on, at one point in time, a 21-day fast.
Yeah.
And I had to give her on a no negativity diet. Like nobody could come and listen to her stories and all those things. And she had to read, study, and pray and turn in things. All of a sudden, everybody could tolerate her because we were breaking that 21 days to break that so that new neuron can fire.
That's right.
Fire, you can start building a new pathway, and you can start going in a different direction. And so she really was growing. Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, thank God. Because before that, it was just all humdrum. And so I was talking to her yesterday because I was saying, look, she's getting ready to go face an encounter. I was like, you're not who you used to be. You can do this, you can do that. So while we're sitting there, she's like, oh, my phone doesn't work. I said, that's what you told me like 4 months ago. She's like, I said, I told you can do this. She's like, yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I was like, it works. It's an Apple. It works. And if it didn't work, call Apple. If it doesn't, what? Look, there's A to Z. Call Apple. Go to Apple. Go to YouTube. Go add some more cloud. Turn off your phone, turn it back on. Reset. Like, I'll keep going till I fix it. Because I know this phone works. You can't tell me there is 10 billion iPhones in this world, and just yours isn't working. That one works.
Right.
If it doesn't work, they're going to take us back.
Yeah.
So she was just like, I said, but we talked about this 3 months ago. And I was like, just get a new phone. She's like, well, it's going to cost money. I go, every new phone doesn't cost money. She said, what do you mean? I said, call them. She goes, well, they said I'm not eligible. I said, go online. She went online. She was like, oh, it says I can have one. And it's only like, it's pretty much free if I turn my other one in. I was like, absolutely. She goes, oh my goodness. How do you know all this? I'm like, child, are you paying attention to these commercials? Are you listening to these testimonies? Like, if you want something, God will open up the path. But her mind just was blocked from seeing. And then she goes, well, and she tried to pay 3 times, and it said, we're rejecting the payment because you tried too many times. It said no. It was blocking her. But when I went to do it, it was accepting it. But it said, now you've charged too many times, so we can't do it. And so I said, what? I said, go to the mall. It's right around the corner. She was like, oh, it's about to close. I said, you got 20 minutes. Go grab somebody and get out in the car and go get there.
That's right.
And she's like, why is it working for you and not for me? I refuse to accept defeat.
Right. Absolutely.
Something somewhere in my CEO,
Yes.
in my genetic makeup,
Yes.
I'm going to get what God says I can have. And so even though we were telling her, she just couldn't believe it.
Right.
And I get some people at church who just, you can preach and pray and prophesy and heal and deliver, and they will believe it's not for them. You get some people, we're talking about love, and they're like, no, there's nobody. Well, one time this girl said, she goes, there's only like 10 good men in the world. And I wasn't married at the time. I said, well, actually there's 9, scratch that. She said, what do you mean there's 9? I said, well, because one of them is for me, I'm not married yet. So if there's only 10, then one of them's mine.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not going to be out here. At that time, I was like, I'm not going to be out here.
Right.
Solo ain't it. That's not my portion.
Right.
But people are settling for things they don't have to because they don't believe and have that positivity to know that God said this and I can have it and I can pursue it and I don't have to live like this and there's always a way. And so I talked to several people that say, I feel so empowered in church, and then I go home, I said, what do you do? And he's like, I don't do anything. I said, that's the problem, you didn't do anything. You gotta start moving, get up and do it. Get up and make an act. If you get in a new car, go look at cars for the next 2 weeks. If they're saying no, somebody gonna say yes. But my credit, I said, see, you're giving me limitation. God didn't say about your credit. God is your credit. Get out there, they'll give you one. They said, well, I can't find a place to live. I said, it's because of my credit. I said, you telling me everybody in the world got good credit and a place to live?
Right.
That is not true. I said, stop putting limitations on yourself. Somebody's going to. But since they believe it, she was believing negativity, so all she was getting was negativity.
Absolutely.
I believe positive, so I'm attracting the positivity. So how does that work?
Absolutely.
Where people like that really believe and act, it works for them. But when people believe that negative, they're attracting that and it doesn't work for them. What is that? And the process is happening right there from a neuroscience perspective.
So when we keep thinking that negative thought, we keep thinking the negative thought, what we're doing is creating a neural network. Just think of a little sphere, a ball. Okay. We create that neural network, and that neural network is there. But what actually happens, too, the more we think negative, like, I'll never find a husband, I'll never find a man, or I don't need a man, or I don't want a man. So the more you keep saying that, because a lot of women, and men too, but a lot of women, I hear that a lot. I don't need a man, or just for the sake of an argument, I'm going to say the word need along with want.
Right, okay. Right.
So when a woman is saying, I don't need a man or I don't want a man, just because the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet, right? So the more you say it, but actually you really want it, I try to tell women, stop saying it. Yeah. If you really truly want a relationship, stop saying it just so you could look or put yourself on this imperialistic pedestal to other people that, I don't need a man in my life, I'm good. I'm better than anybody else. I don't want a man in my life. But the thing is that God created us to all have a need to belong. You know, as Maslow's law, that's how he created us, to have that desire for each other. We all have it. Every living, breathing creature on this earth have a need to belong. Animals, lions, tigers, birds. You see birds, they're not trying to say, hey, I want to be by myself, right? You know, so it's so important to understand. Now, the reason why I say stop saying it, if you truly want someone in your life, stop saying it just so you could, you know, that it's a bad thing to want a man, or it's a negative thing to want a man. God hardwired us to have a need to belong, a need to connect, a need to bond, a need to pair bond with each other, right? So the more you say it, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, you create this network. So what you're doing is you're creating these neurons, right? So the neurons in your brain, they look like a branch, and they have little branches at the end. So what they do, these are neurons, right? The neuron is communicating to the other neuron. You have the synapses in the middle, right? So this is information, you know, like if I took little tapes of music, you know, on just tape, right? And spliced them, that'll be like a neuron, because there's information on there, right? So what happens is neurons communicate to other neurons. So what the neurons is doing is telling other neurons, guess what they're doing? They're telling other neurons, guess what? The new thing is we don't want a man in our life.
Whoa. Say that again.
The new thing is we don't want a man in our life.
So your neuron
So the neuron
is
communicates
communicating to the other neuron.
other neuron.
And so the more
Then the
you're
next
saying
neuron,
it, the more you're
you
thinking
saying it, the more you thinking it. And then that's what the brain says. The brain says, I'm your genie. Your wish is my command.
Whoa.
Thank you for that.
Jesus.
Jesus help us all.
And so now you wonder why there is no man in your life. Because you prophesized it. You said, this is what I conditioned my brain to do. And so biologically, check this out. So now that you create this network, all the things that was created in you as a woman, to the feminine part, the way you walk, the way you smile, the way you look, the scent that you have, the way you present yourself to flirt, right? All those things are shut down.
You are so what?
Because you programmed it. You told the brain, we don't want a man in our life. So the brain says, oh, okay. So all the stuff that I do to try to attract a man, then we don't need to do them.
You are amazing.
So, okay, this is kind of making sense to me now from that perspective. Let me tell you something real quickly. So, when I first got saved, the Lord was like, no to relationships. Like, not right now. Not this season.
Yes.
I need you to focus on me.
Focus on yourself.
And I'd be single and fall in love with me and
That's
fall
right.
in
Get
love
to
with
know
yourself.
self. Right.
And,
Absolutely.
and then you'll be prepared for that relationship.
That's right. Absolutely.
So for 5 years, if I read things and I was preparing and mentally different things, but the truth is the first couple months, 2 months maybe, it was difficult. But after I understood this is preparing me. God does have marriage for me. He wants me to get ready, but right now I need to focus on this.
That's right.
And I was focused. It was not hard after that. Like the Lord allowed, even though guys would be looking at me in different things, and I was not even paying attention and focused on it because it was my season to get prepared for my life.
That's right.
To function properly. And
Absolutely.
I was getting rid of toxicity. I was getting rid of dysfunction. I was learning how to communicate. I was understanding who I was, what I was dealing with. He was delivering me from molestation and rape and all those different things and my ideas or rejection from my parents. And I was detoxing all that
yes,
stuff.
that's right.
So there's no room for somebody during that time. God was giving me
Absolutely.
some space. But then it was great because for those 5 years, it was like, okay, I was able. And it didn't feel like it was difficult.
Right.
And now that you're mentioning it, it wasn't like a lot of people were coming my direction during that way.
Right.
It's like I had a little bubble I was in during that
yeah.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now that makes sense because I had to tell my brain, it took
That's
me a
right.
second to rewire it, to tell it, stop, no, you're not. No texting, no calling, no flirting, no
That's
nothing.
right.
Like,
That's right.
don't give your phone out. It's not an option. No, you're not going on dates. No, you're not hanging out. So I had shut that down, and I wasn't even attracting a lot of that.
That's
so
right. Absolutely.
Towards the time when it started getting to like now the Lord was lifting that thing. All of a sudden now all these men started coming my direction.
That's right.
And they were interested in me. But during that time, it wasn't
That's
like
right. Once you opened the door, once
Yeah.
you said, okay, now I'm putting my help wanted sign, for the job, right? Because I tell women, you're the employer. Us men, we're interested in trying to get the job, right? So once you put that sign up, then it starts happening. It's like, okay, now I'm ready. Because
I didn't understand that. It was strange. I was like,
yeah.
what? Nobody's really like, they weren't trying, which I'm glad they weren't trying. But now I understand why.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So once you give that permission that I'm ready and I'm open for it, then that's when it's going to. So imagine the opposite. And imagine staying there. Imagine staying there. You're right. It would have been 5 more years.
Oh, it's terrible. I would have been starting over the cycle over and over and over again until I was
Absolutely.
able to get rid of, like, I had to learn myself, like, what my triggers were, what was wrong with me, let God
Yeah.
heal me, let him like put me back together right. That was during that time too. I was just coming out of running track a lot, so I'm wearing sweats every day. It's not like I'm wearing heels or taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Even I went through a whole season, right around the time when my husband came. I was not interested in a relationship in that time.
Yeah,
Me, I
right.
was not interested.
Still working on self.
Like, no, I was just like, by that time, like my husband I'm married to,
Yeah.
I was just like, I have everything that I really, really want. I don't need to be in a relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can take care of myself. I
Yeah.
can buy it myself. I can travel myself. I
Yeah.
already have children.
Yeah.
I've got grandchildren. Like,
Right.
sometimes people need, sometimes there's a need in your season.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was talking about the stages of relationship.
Yes.
I was saying, in I think our Proverbs 31, I said, like, you have to understand the stage you're at. Because some girls are like, I don't want a man that doesn't have anything. And I was like, really? I was like, there is a season you can have a man that doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
You, like my son, he was 19. He didn't have nothing.
Right. Right.
And him and his, I said, that's okay. You can't be like, and I knew another 20-year-old, and she was thinking, no, a man needs to come with everything. I said, well, tell me what you have. She's like, nothing. I said, so why should he come with everything? He's your age. You're only 21, 22.
That's right.
So you don't have anything. So I
Right.
said, in this season, you guys have a bonding mechanism that builds together.
That's right. Absolutely.
So you can build together. You can get your first car together, your first house together. You guys can get your first go for your first trip to Fiji
Yes,
together.
yes.
You can go to your first this, you can first that. You guys
Yes.
can you guys are excited. You had your first wedding together.
yes.
It's like you had your first baby together.
Yeah.
All these are bonding
Yeah, that's
chemicals,
right.
and it bonds you together. Say you and I would never find another you. So you
Yes.
have to have that when you're at that stage, and that's everything. Me, 50 years old, you can't come with
Right.
nothing.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
come with nothing.
Yeah.
I don't understand 40-year-olds. They're like, yeah, I want to be with somebody, but she needs to be a virgin, and she can't have any kids at all. And I'm like, and zero debt. I'm like, so you're telling me
Mom.
your chances is like 1%. And if they 40 years old and they don't have none of that, something's wrong with them too. Probably.
Yes.
Not always.
Yeah, right.
They might have been focused on law school and astronauts, and they were NASA, and they were very busy, and they didn't have time. And they got a lot of money saved up somewhere.
Right. Getting there.
I get that.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? I do have a brother. My brother is like 35, and he is a virgin, and he's about to get married. And he waited because he's the youngest one of all of us, and he watched us do it all wrong.
Right.
And he and his said, I ain't doing that.
Absolutely.
So he was scared to I think he was scared straight, scared to get married.
Yeah.
He was like, God said no sex, so we're not having sex. So he's traveled all over the world. He's played in the NBA. He's worked for the world's some best NBA players. He has his own business. He owns his own home. He's got amazing credit. He owns a house, and he's got all these things. And he doesn't have a bunch of debt. And one of the girls, my friends we wanted to date one of my spiritual daughters at one point in time, and they were thinking about talking, and he was like, so how much debt do you have? And she's like, I have like 10,000. He's like, what's your plan for paying that off? I'm like, bro, that's not a lot.
Right,
I'm thinking that's not a lot. 10,000, that's nothing. And he's asking her these questions because he's doing his thing, right? So eventually he finds a young lady, and they're very similar. And even when you see them, you're like, those two are a couple. They belong together.
Yeah.
And he's just now got engaged, and he's just now getting married, and he wants to have kids. So there are people out there that do those things. But once again, he has saved money. He's traveled the world. He's got a resume. You can't be at 40 years old with no resume.
Right.
You can't have not built anything. You have to have proven what do you bring to the table.
That's right.
So 30 years old, you guys are still in the nowadays you can be 30. Back in the day, you couldn't be like that. But nowadays, 30s, you're still in the okay, let's get it together. I'm cool. I'm pulling together. Because 20s, you're trying to figure out who you are and make things happen and finishing school and whatever, and you're doing your things.
Right.
30, you're in the I'm discovering and I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen. 40 years okay, I'm here. You're supposed to be, I'm here, and you're trying to keep it, and you're trying to make it grow still. And in 50s, 60s, you're okay, let's vacation and let's do some stuff I've been building, and I got a good resume.
That's right.
There's seasons of that, and then sometimes those things get interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're choosing, you can choose someone at the stage that you're at, but you have to choose at the stage that you're at wisely. You can't expect
That's
at
right.
20-year-old to have every single thing. There's just wrong thinking for some people.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's wrong. It's not correct thinking. And nowadays people, nowadays it's different than it was in 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It's just not the same.
Right.
And so, but building with somebody is great. And then even at 50 and 40 and whatever, when you get with someone, it's okay, and 30, what do I bring? This is what I bring to the table. What's your talents? What's your abilities? And this is who you are. This is what I bring to the table, what I've been working on. And this is what you bring to the table, what you're working on. Now, how can we build together with that? That's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to be able to build together. We got to be able to accomplish something. And we have to be able to move forward.
That's right.
And that's what's important to people when they're choosing and selecting a person. So when I wasn't thinking about getting married, again, I had 12 dreams from God. So now he's interrupting my... He's giving me visuals, pictures,
Yes.
showing me everything. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Now he's sending prophetic words.
Yeah.
And they're the same word by people that don't know each other from different countries. So finally, I had to say yes. And as soon as I finally said yes,
Yes.
it began to manifest. But at first, I was just like, no, I'm good. And so and tell you the truth, even when I already knew him, and I had dated him before, and when he finally really came around, I still wasn't super open because I had spent quite a bit of time now really building,
That's right.
doing things, traveling by myself. I loved traveling by myself. I would be in Jamaica by myself. I'd be in Hawaii by myself. I'd be in, I'd be in Paris or whatever. I could go where I wanted to do. I bought a house and another house and cars, and I wasn't lacking anything. My kids were successful, doing good. So I really had I think conditioned myself that I didn't really absolutely need someone. So I felt like I was more standoffish and difficult than he was.
Yeah.
And it was his first time getting married too.
Yeah.
And a person that's been divorced, you're the pain, the suffering you went through or whatever, if you add multiple divorces to that, that you have things that you got to probably unpack that you don't know you have to unpack.
Right.
So I was it was harder for me to adapt. What would you say I did to myself? So if it's harder for me to adapt, I've had these years, I told myself, but then the Lord comes in and shows me what he has for me. There's like a surrendering process. You know, I surrendered and it began to attract, but now then it was like, I still was kind of like, I still found myself, initially it was like I was still closed a little bit. So from a scientific
Yeah.
perspective,
Well,
spiritual
yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
what would you say I did?
Yeah. So
Self-protection?
It absolutely. It wasn't a bad thing. It was, you spent that time
You had to prove yourself? What was
perfecting yourself. You know, you spent that
Show
time. Yeah, you just spent that time trying. You know what you said early on too, when you mentioned the detox,
Yeah.
right? And that's what's really important, is that we do
That's in
take
my
out that
20s, though.
time. Yeah, but when we take our time and enjoy ourselves, sometimes we could create that habit too, as well as just enjoying self and just enjoying self without having somebody else in your life, right? It becomes really fun. But then later on, what we've discovered when it comes is like, okay, this is great. I've been enjoying myself. I've been traveling and doing things by myself. But then something inside says, it would be nice to have somebody else to enjoy some of these things with too as well, right? That kicks in, but that kicks in just by the laws of nature, right? Because there's a certain thing called loneliness, which would have been the pandemic before. You would have heard about this on the news, about loneliness, before COVID-19 happened. It was going to be the next thing. And now you heard it from me. You're going to start seeing on the news about the effect that it has on human beings and how many people who have actually died based on loneliness. So check this out. And you can Google this. I'm probably sure you can now. So women, Asian women, I believe it's in Japan right now, and seniors are actually committing crimes on purpose to get caught, just so they can go to jail to be amongst their peers.
What?
That's how deep loneliness is.
You know, one of my spiritual daughters was like, I don't want to have kids. I said, if you don't want to have kids, I said, you're thinking right now selfishly, because when you get old, your mom is not going to be there.
That's
your
right.
dad is not going to be there.
That's right.
Your sister is going to have her own family.
That's
and
right.
her own kids.
That's right.
I said, and you're going to be with no one. And if you know anything, loneliness will set in, and
That's right.
you will have no, and then you'll be mad at people for not spending time with you.
That's
when
right.
people have their own lives, they develop their own families, they've developed their own things, and you will be dying a lonely person because you have no one to take care of you.
That's right.
No one to come see you.
That's right.
No one to love you. My grandma's 94. We went just to see her last month. Grandma got friends. She has, there was 50 of us there.
Yeah.
And they're from babies to older. Her son is 75. Her daughter is 70-something. Then there's 5 generations of us just as women.
Yeah.
She's got surrounded by people that love her, cherish her, take care of her, come over and do all those things. And you're saying you don't want a husband. You want a husband, but you don't want any kids. I'm like, it's like a death trap for a lot of people.
Right.
And they can't see because they're not thinking long term.
Long term. Absolutely. They're not thinking long term. And a lot of people, just like you said, a lot of people find themselves in that situation where they have no family, where they have no one. And I'm telling you guys, loneliness kills.
I believe it.
Loneliness kills. And I'm telling you, it was going to be the big thing. It was starting to come to the United States, the news, and it was starting to go on can I say?
Go ahead.
No, okay, like NBC and all of those,
yeah.
Dateline.
Yeah.
You know, they were starting to come on, and the articles were starting to go into the magazines and everything. And then COVID hit, right? And so they stopped. But now you're going to start seeing these same articles that were supposed to be out 4 years ago. and now it's going to come out. And then now you're going to start hearing news talking about loneliness, because loneliness is killing people.
Jesus, I believe it.
And it's not the fact that it's just the loneliness, but it's the things that we may already deal with within our physical body. With loneliness adds to it, and it could cause, But I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks.
Yeah. He had the ball.
With the ball.
What was the ball's name? It was something. Wilson. The ball's
Absolutely,
name was
Wilson.
He had to create a whole person.
That movie, and it's another movie, I'm always saying it wrong. Denzel Washington was playing as a boxer. Hurricane, what is it?
Hurricane.
And when he was in solitary confinement, he created 3 different people inside of the cell that he was in.
Right.
Because he needed it to cope.
Jesus Christ.
So the next time you see homeless people talking to themselves, that's the body automatically creating another person to talk with, because that's a coping mechanism. That's a coping mechanism. That's when you hear, that's why they're talking to somebody else, because that's what the body is trying to cope. So the movie Castaway, without Wilson, that was his coping mechanism. That's who he was talking to.
Even in Will Smith's, he had the dog.
Yes.
In
Yes.
what's the name of it?
The AI movie.
iRobot.
iRobot, yeah.
No, not iRobot. It was everybody died. They're doing I Am Legend. I Am Legend. They have a number 2 coming out now.
Yeah.
And when the dog died,
really?
it was everything to him. Like, because the dog was a puppy when it happened, so he had the dog the whole time, and he had companionship with the dog.
That's right.
And then as soon as the dog died, he was just boo-hooing. He was just like, oh.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't have anybody else.
Absolutely. And that's how we communicate. Actually, that's how, like, we are now used to talking to our phones or AI and all of that. It's called anthropomorphizing, because we could talk to our dogs or even our stuffed dolls, right? So the anthropomorphizing is us expressing, although the dolls aren't talking back to us, right? Or the dog may respond back to us, and that's good. That's good enough to feel connected, to have someone to communicate with, right?
Yeah.
So imagine not having that at all, and you're isolated, because when you're stuck in your house, you might as well say you're in solitary confinement, because you're not going anywhere, you're not communicating with people, you're not attached to some type of matriculation, some type of organization, church, right? Meeting people. So you just take yourself and just close yourself off. Now, don't get me wrong now. Yes, there's times that you need to detox and from healing yourself and everything.
You need to
and
be able
that's
to
the
enjoy
process.
yourself.
You need to enjoy yourself,
both.
be able to
Balance.
do that and balance that. And then once it's done, once you're good and you're healed, now it's time to deal with people now, right? To connect with human beings, because when you don't, the body isn't created to be alone.
So now what about the Holy Spirit? Because to tell you the truth, it's so strange, because I'm around so many people, and I interact with a lot of people every day. I mean, numbers are just crazy. But if I was in a room by myself for like a month, I'm okay. If I was in my office for a whole month, because of my relationship with the Holy Spirit, the ability of learning how to meditate, how to connect spiritually, and even like renewing my mind and different things, and hearing, I don't really feel that, like, when I was broken, like that type of loneliness. I don't have that feeling, and I'm getting downloads, and I'm writing, and I'm dreaming, and I'm all the stuff. So tell me, from a spiritual aspect, A lot of people couldn't spend that much time, but I actually can.
Well, you're using coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
You're using those things.
Tell me about that. Like, especially spiritually, after a while, like you start having encounters, and I mean, there was one time I remember I was coming out of a vision, trance vision, this one, and there was a whole, I had my phone, I was like, I wanted my husband to see, because I was like, oh my God, look at this place is amazing. I knew the place wasn't like a real place here.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a rainbow that was like waterfall rainbow, but it was moving. And it started going through me and my phone caught it too, because I was trying to do a selfie so I could catch it so I could show somebody.
Yeah.
And they were colors of a rainbow that you've never seen.
Right.
It was different colors you couldn't even explain.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I just went through it. Like, I'm all having this whole experience. And then I looked up and there was like this mount. It's like, all I could say it was like kind of like a mountain, but I ended up on the top of that mountain. And when I went through that mountain, it was like I walked through like a portal. And in the portal, there were these rooms, and there was this room, and like all the old scholars, like all the old saints, like Paul and people, they were in this one room, and you look down, and there's a whole valley. It's like it was behind this steamingly thing it's like you walked in, and there was a whole portal there, and and I literally came out, and I was like, you have to remember, like, oh wow, I'm actually here, but I was there. So you can't control those experiences. God gives you those experiences,
That's right.
right?
Absolutely.
At my very first vision, I had not vision, but I was caught up, God let me, I was at the Golgotha, the place that's called, and Jesus was on the cross, and he spoke to me, and I saw him, and I saw everybody around him, and he's still hanging there, and he had a whole crowd. He said, touch me and see that I'm real. And then when I didn't touch him, I made this really arrogantly smart comment that I should have never made. And I regret to this day. I was like, but I already know that you're real. And so I didn't touch him. Imagine if I just touched him and saw what would happen. I was right back in my body. And I was telling somebody, oh my God, I just had this whole experience. And then this lady at the counter, at the podium, she goes, somebody just had a vision from God, and he wants you to tell it. And I just told the person next to me, so they're like, it's you. And I was like, shut up, don't. I'm really young, I'm 22, I never had experiences. So somewhere in the process of my intimacy with God, I learned, like, it's like I don't ever feel like I'm alone. I do understand the interaction and need of people. I do understand being full and having to give, and I understand the part of needing to fill up in order to give, taking time to fill up, and being able to pour out, needing to go rejuvenate like Jesus did and get away to spend time with him to fill back up. So I have something for me, myself, and I have something to give. So it's like, but I don't feel lonely. Is that in a scientific,
or
spiritual connection way? What begins to happen? Because even when they study the brain and you're praying in tongues, I saw the study, I don't know if you've seen it, that where they said they can see that the brain is having this whole chemical healing process. If you pray in tongues long enough, the body starts healing itself. And then they said that also they can recognize that you're not forcing yourself to pray in tongues. Like, there's a way I'm talking right now, it shows up on the screen that I'm in the brain that I'm making myself talk. But when I'm doing tongues, you're not making yourself talk. Like, something is doing this process, and it begins to secrete a healing chemical that actually was shut down, because they say our cells of rejuvenation are in our body. They can see them, but they're not activated. But when you begin to fast and fasting, it begins to secrete this healing process, the rejuvenation process. So I'm asking, I guess, is spiritually what begins to happen when more light enters you? Can they see that from a scientific standpoint when they look at the body? I know dendrites can shrink up, those negative ones on the brain, and white ones begin to form, which are good patterns, good healthy thoughts and stuff, and the negative ones you can see on the brain. So Is there something that you can see when you begin to actually have more of a spiritual encounter with God? And from a scientific perspective, when they look at the body, can you see that? Do they track that? I don't know if I've never seen a study like that.
Yeah, well, they did something similar to that with the monks. That was in meditation, and seeing how meditation can actually heal through spirituality, and showing how the body has actually responding in certain ways. So that's and the comfort of what you mentioned earlier, when I said this was a codependent, but not codependent. This is where you actually have now conditioned the body to know that God is with you, that God is in you, and this is how it helps to fight the loneliness, because you're not alone. When you know that God is with you,
Yeah.
you don't feel that loneliness, because you know, and has experienced. I've experienced a lot of things spiritual that people would not believe,
Right.
But I know, just like I've experienced things in my life, things I've seen,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't believe it because it's never happened to you before,
Right.
But I know that I've experienced it. Like you said, your dream, when you said
Yeah.
you had that, and
Yeah.
it said, touch me, and you didn't, but you know that experience, and you know what you saw, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
that
Like
if
they
that
put you on a
happened
lie
to you,
detector test, it's going to come up
it's going to
like
come
it's
up.
true.
It's going to come
Yeah.
up as true. And being that you know you experienced it, you know you're not alone.
Right.
You know that God is with you, that Spirit is with you, and other family members are with you, because they have touched you. They have been there to talk to you,
Amen.
right? You know, and that's really serious when it comes to that science too, as well.
Wow.
You know, so
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. Because developing that relationship with God can actually give you that sense of you do need to know. Some people don't know, even though they don't know they go to church. You haven't. It's a developed, because I think over the years it grew to that. You know,
Absolutely.
it grew. It didn't just start off my first 5 years or even 10 years. Like I had to go through such times of stress to where I knew God was there before I knew He was there. You know,
Absolutely.
and I remember feeling times of loneliness and those different things years before. So I do get that. So in a relationship, in our closing, we have like 2 minutes. I just want you to tell people, like, how do we keep that passion going past? I know you talked to me before about that when it seems to have gone down, how do we get it back up, keep it up, and how do we keep those chemicals, bonding chemicals, excited and passionate in relationships? Can you tell them real quickly?
Yeah, novelty. I talk about novelty all the time when it comes to how to keep the spark in the relationship, because again, when we understand that those chemicals starts to decrease, they can also, let's just say decreases at this level, but then it goes a little lower than that level. So now we're starting to realize that we're just in this comfort zone in our relationship, right? We come home, we eat, we watch TV, go to sleep, wake up, go to work. That becomes a routine. So we're not really giving anything to each other. We're not really giving love to each other. So when we talk about quality time, so we're not even having quality time with each other. We actually having quality time with the television. So
Wow.
when we're sitting down watching TV together, we're giving the television quality time.
Jesus.
We're not giving each other quality time.
Don't go to the movies, or at least go to
You
dinner
know.
and a movie, right?
Yeah, because, and so what I tell couples too sometimes is, you know, if you are watching television and you realize that you haven't had any quality time, if you found something interesting in the movie or in the TV show or something like that,
Talk
put it on
about it.
pause and talk about
Talk
it.
about it.
Talk about it.
Okay,
And
that's
spend
good.
that time talking about that. And that's your quality time. That's when you're creating it. So novelty, you know, when people get on top of the mountains and they jump off the mountains with the parachutes, right? So before they even jump off the mountains, when they're on top of the mountain, they are experiencing an anticipation. So
Right.
they're experiencing dopamine at the time that they're on top of the mountain before they jump. So once they jump and hit the ground, then they start experiencing serotonin. So serotonin makes you feel good. So they go back up and they want to do it again.
We did
But
this.
what
recently.
happens? Oh, you guys did it.
Well, we were in Mexico, and I'd never done bungee jumping.
Yeah.
And we were doing zip lining all day, like
Yeah.
zip lining, bungee jumping, jumping over. We have a whole story about this. My husband lies every time. He says, we have to get true story. He says, I pushed him off the cliff, but I didn't push him.
Yeah.
We got proof. So it's been an ongoing joke for some time. I was like, you lie. But literally, when we got up there,
Yeah.
they were like, I was like, oh yeah, you guys go ahead of us. And I was like, oh, I don't want to jump first. Like, oh no, they strapped you up in the bungee jumping thing, and you're feeling, there is this, that you said it's the dopamine. It's that
Yeah.
feeling of like,
That
okay,
rush.
I've been talking about this my whole life, and we're like here,
Yeah.
and you start looking down, and you start looking around, and you're like, whoo, and you watch the other person go, and it's like, ooh, I'm next.
Yes.
And it's like, who's going first? You're like, you're going first.
Yeah.
And then when I finally did, like, I can't remember if he went first. I don't know, my husband's in the crowd. I don't know if he went first or I went first. When we bungee jumped, I'm not sure who went first. Oh, he had to make sure I was okay, so I went first. Okay. So what I remember when we jumped, that feeling, and then afterwards I was excited, but when I did go back up.
Yeah, you were excited. You were receiving that
I went back
serotonin.
up, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it one more time. But this time, we have this thing called the Spider-Man kiss, like where I'm upside down, hanging upside down, and he came and he kissed me when I'm hanging up there, and I swung, so he did it twice, and it was a feeling, but that lasting afterwards, we still laugh about it, we joke
Yeah.
about it, like we did these things together, and when you started teaching that, we started doing different dates. We started doing helicopter dates and little gondola on the boats dates, and we started doing backyard dates, and we started, like in our backyard, he had a whole, like when our spiritual sons was like the maitre d' and doing all the stuff
Yeah.
and brought the food out and and then different things we started doing in things to keep that dopamine and the serotonin
Absolutely.
and the
Absolutely.
bonding mechanisms. Like we did this together. So like we ruin you for
Yeah.
anybody else. Like nobody else
Yes.
can have you because you'll always be
Yes.
thinking about each other.
Yes.
And you're like exciting, like, yeah, we did this together. And it's like that
You
really
have to
works.
do it.
It does work because even if like I find myself like we're ever irritated, like it's funny, we can try to stay irritated. We just can't stay irritated. We like laughing before you know it and stuff. You're like, it's like
Yes. Right, like
you
you
forget
said.
that you were even mad.
Like you said,
5
you
seconds, you're
laugh.
like high-fiving, you're like, oh, I'm mad at
Yeah.
you. Why am I high-fiving you? Like,
Yeah. Like
get
you
off
said,
me.
you're
You get off me.
laughing.
And
you're
next thing you know,
having a
you're
good
kissing and you're like,
time. Yeah.
what? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it's bonded you together so
bonds
much
you.
to you're like, you're the only one. You've convinced yourself
Yeah.
there is no one else I can have these experiences with.
Yeah.
And I just love you. So
And so that's what's happening. I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you named all of those things. I'm
well,
going to
after
use some of them.
you talked about it, so I
You
started
know.
making it real
Yeah,
reality.
yeah, absolutely. Because you every time you do these things, you're going to release these chemicals, and just as we said, those chemicals are bonding chemicals. That's what keeps you bonded. So if you know a couple that's just doing that routine work, home, eat, TV, right? Wake up in the morning, work, home, eat, television, then go to sleep, right? Versus someone who is doing novelty. Excitement.
Passion.
That's passion. That's creating. You're loving each other even more. It's almost like we just met. Right? Because you're doing these things and you're releasing chemicals. Let me tell you, love is giving each other those chemicals.
Wow.
You just changed the game, like for real.
Come on.
Literally changing the whole
That's what love is. Every time you're doing things, you're releasing those chemicals. Those chemicals make you feel good. And when those chemicals make you feel good, that's why you want to. So when you jump, you want to go back up and jump again. Because you're like,
Yes.
whoa, that felt so good. And so now what you're doing is also activating each other's chemicals, acting each other's drugs. Those are the drugs that God gave us to keep us bonded.
You better get it.
So you have to activate those drugs. And guess what? Remember that level when we said this is the level and it probably went a little lower? Now that level is coming back up and probably go all the way back up to just beginning when we just met. Because
Wow.
you went
so
bungee
you can
jumping.
go back up to that
You can
place.
go back up there.
Okay.
Jesus.
You can go back up there. And this is what makes you now, after having such a great time, you can go to the amusement parks and all of that.
Yeah.
Now you want to come home and do what? You want to bond with each other because those chemicals are out.
That's amazing.
Those chemicals are out, and now you want to bond with each other. You want to now share those chemicals with each other.
Sexual healing.
Sexual heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So real quickly, so say you have you got good bonding, you guys are good, but let's say you go through like an argument or a rough patch. How do you get what happens in that situation when you have a disagreement and you need to start coming back? What do you do? What's the best things to do to curve that back to restore and keep that together?
Yeah. So first thing that we really got to do is we have to give ourselves permission to mature when it comes to having arguments. We have to understand, and you have to make an agreement with each other
Okay, come on,
that
listen.
when we have these arguments, going back to the Bible, when you have an argument, he says what? Don't
Well, one,
go to bed.
do not let the sun go down with your wrath.
That's right.
Settle a matter quickly.
That's right.
Kind word turns away wrath.
That's right.
Love is patient, kind, not self-seeking, boastful, or proud, keeps no records of wrong done to it. Love assumes the best. Be kind, compassionate, caring, loving with one another. Be gentle, forbearing with one another, understanding.
Right?
Ooh, conviction.
That is exactly it.
Ouch.
That's exactly it. That's why you have to give yourself to mature to know that we cannot allow these arguments. Because look, you put your boxing gloves on,
Right.
not to fight each other. You put the boxing gloves to fight the society that's causing you, that's trying to knock you down,
Yes.
that's trying to stress you out from bills and all of that. That's what your boxing gloves are for.
So you have to give
not
permission,
for each other.
But habits and patterns start forming.
Absolutely.
So you have to recognize we're in a pattern and we're in a habit.
That's
so when
right.
you recognize you're in a habit or a pattern, breaking that.
Break it.
I know God told me one day how to break one, but when you're in it, how do you break the pattern? Would you tell someone?
Yeah, and you got to swallow your pride. It's your pride. It's your pride not
Jesus.
allowing you to break the pattern.
Jesus.
You have to be able to say, oh man, my loved one, the person who I love, the person who I really care about, is in the room right now, angry and hurt. I'm allowing my significant other to hurt because I have not walked in that door and said, baby, I'm sorry.
Whoa. I don't. Are you guys hearing this? Okay, so pride doesn't want me to go in and say, baby, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
So many times you're saying most relationships are not willing to take ownership or action, or even saying I apologize for win the battle,
Yes.
to win the war. Humbling ourselves.
Humbling ourselves. You have
Jesus.
to humble yourself. This is your partner. This is your significant other in the room right now that's hurting. In the room right now that's crying. In the room right now that stress. Again, when I talk about loneliness, stress also does what? Kill you.
Oh, wow.
So now you're allowing your significant other to deal with stress right now. You are responsible. We are responsible for each other.
Wow.
We are responsible for each other. You're going to disappoint God by not doing your job as being responsible for your significant other. So you're letting your significant other hurt and pain without going in and swallowing that pride by saying, baby, I'm sorry. Come here, girl. Come here. get that hug, get that kiss, and especially when you know you were wrong. Babe, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Because you give yourself that minute and think about it. And it's so beautiful when you, look, when we talked about creating habits, it's a good thing to create good habits. So the more you do that, it becomes second nature. It becomes second nature. Even you become so good at it where it doesn't even get to the point where he or she goes into the bedroom mad. Because you realize it during the conversation. While you're having a conversation and you know it's getting heated, and then you think about it and you go, oh, wait a minute, you're right, babe, you're right. And it goes back to what we were talking about, the communication. You're right. What I'm hearing you say is. And then she say, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You say, you're right. Oh, man, you're right. Come here, girl. Come here, baby. Come here. Right.
And being quick to forgive, I guess, is very important.
Being quick to forgive.
Quick to forgive. So humility, quick to forgive, recognizing that feeling when you see the direction, the conversation is going the wrong way, remembering, like you said, the principles of God and honoring God and doing His way. And so realistically, that pride is majority what's blocking us. What about, like, you call it like repeat offenders? People say, well, they're doing it over and over and over and over again. How does somebody break patterns when they continue to do the same thing over and over again? And sometimes it's laziness. Sometimes it's just they don't care. Sometimes they're just self-centered. How does another person, when you're dealing with two people, sometimes there's always seeming like there's one person that's like more either responsible or there's one person that's more ready to understand or get it, and there's maybe like another person that's like the snail they're slagging, or like not snail, but this book called Marriage Made Simple. It talks about one is the hailstorm, and that's the person that's vocal and talks about it. Then you have the person that's the turtle, and they're slower and they retreat and they don't say as much. And they say there's usually always one or the other, and they both have needs, and they're both designed to work together, but there's that one person that doesn't seem to be getting it, and then it seems like somebody's always frustrated. How do we get that balance where, this person is giving more grace, but this person's coming up, showing improvement, and saying, taking ownership, and we're running the race together?
Yeah. So what I like, and if I can just go back to jumping off the mountain.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So eventually what happens is with our study is that we realize that mountain will start to get boring.
That's good. That's good.
And so what do? They're going to do what after this? They go, oh, we jumped about, 10 times now. We don't feel that adrenaline, right?
Yeah. It's not exciting anymore.
It's not exciting anymore. It starts getting boring. So then what do you do? What
find a new mountain. Go find something else to do.
Absolutely.
Go find something else fun to do.
Go find something new. Go find another mountain. But what happens sometimes is that the other partner doesn't want to go find the new mountain.
Help us. Let's go. We're ready.
You're saying, look where we're at. Let's just go find another mountain. And the other one is like, no, I just want to stay here. I want to just stay and stuck in this mountain here. Knowing that it's not helping the both of us. It's going to help just me.
That's good.
Because the group, when you see it on the sports and television and just as well as yourselves, right?
Yeah.
You see the group actually go to a new mountain. Everybody, they all get their parachutes, wrap them up, and they go find a new mountain. And here we go now, happy again, doing the jump and all of that, right? But if that one person is there, that one person can also make that whole group miserable. Because they're at the new mountain, but we know that person is still back there.
They're stuck in their mind.
Help us.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that we can't really have fun because that person is still back there.
Right. They're here, but they back there.
Yeah.
They're here, but they're not really in
but
it.
they're not really
They're
in
in the
it.
bed, they're not really in bed. They're having sex, but they're not really having sex. You're here at church, but
Absolutely.
you're not really here. You're
Absolutely.
doing the motions,
Preach
but you're
it.
not really doing it right. You're having the conversation, but you know that they're just saying the words. They're not really meaning it with their passion in their heart. So they're not there.
Help us.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay?
And then they're not really here. And that's why sometimes then you find the group saying, look, let's go back and try to have some kind of influence to get this person to see it's best to go to the new mountain with us.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do, to try to have that conversation with the partner, to at least try to have that conversation with the partner.
What about when they're not hearing you?
But when they're not hearing you,
What happens?
when they're not hearing you, I always say, now it's
Because
time
you get
for
people that say it
therapy.
all the time.
You
Sometimes
know.
they're saying, I hear people all the time say, I've said it a million times.
said it a
Everybody
million
said
times.
it. They're just not hearing. It's not changing. It's not growing.
That's
You're
right.
like, come on. And so what
And the
happens?
person doesn't want to change. That person's stuck in that mountain. So now you have to make that decision. What do I do? Do I have to keep sitting here, like you said, say it 100 more times? Or do I have to just go ahead and go to this new mountain? And usually that's what happens sometimes too. You just end up going to the new mountain and your relationship is no longer. And you know what? That is when you hear that those chemicals we talked about earlier, when we talked about the level, that's when you hear when those chemicals are gone, has
Jesus.
decreased. Remember, we were saying decrease, right? We say decrease, right? But when they're just gone,
Oh.
when they're gone,
You don't care anymore.
you don't care anymore. That's when the relationship, that's when people end up getting divorced.
Dang.
I don't want you to touch me.
Oh.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to sleep in the same bed.
Whoa.
I don't want to hug you.
Whoa.
I don't want to kiss you.
Whoa.
I don't want to be intimate with you. That means chemistry is gone.
Jesus.
Because remember, when we're talking about these chemicals, we're talking about the word that everybody always say when they first meet somebody, they say, we got good what?
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
And then when it starts dying,
Whoa.
when it's dead, that's chemistry. There is no more chemistry.
So pride can kill chemistry,
Absolutely. Pride can kill it.
or your bonding mechanism. Pride, unwillingness to grow, unwillingness
Grow
to
with
change,
each other.
grow together, move
Together.
together.
Sometimes people don't want to follow.
Right.
They don't want to follow. They see that you're bettering yourself. And they don't want to follow. I remember, I don't know the story, but I remember someone said, I think she's a minister now or something, but they were both on drugs. And one day, and I'm just paraphrasing, I might not have the story right. One day she was watching television and she was watching a gospel station and something that the minister said touched her. And she was like, no more drugs. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So she stopped. Her significant other saw the good in her and how she changed. And he was like, man, do I want to stay on this mountain?
Right.
Or do I want to go to the new one?
Wow. What'd he do?
And he wanted to go
He
to
went
the
with
new
her?
one. He went
Well,
with her.
and the side note of that is, the flip side of that is, I watched the other day, I was watching Bobby Brown's documentary.
Yeah.
And of course, this is one side of the story, because I'm not there. It's I never heard her side. But he was saying how he went to jail. When he went to jail, he was on drugs. And the day that they were getting married, he realized she was doing cocaine too. And they were like, okay, cool, we can do it together. And they started doing weekend cocaine. And then they started doing regular cocaine. And when they stopped doing all their shows and excitement everywhere, it became not a weekend thing. It became a everyday thing. When life started slowing down.
Yeah.
And they started getting a little bit older.
Yeah.
And he was saying how he went into jail because he started getting into trouble. He couldn't contain it. You add alcohol to it. And he said he went to jail. And when he went to jail, he said he ended up detoxing completely from drugs. So he's not doing cocaine. He's not doing whatever, all the stuff that they were doing. And so they picked him up, and in the car, she had it available there in the car. And he was like, no. So he said that was the downfall of their relationship, because before, as long as they were doing their drugs together, they were destructive together.
Yes.
And he's like, but he said, I never stopped loving her. I just could not be with her because we were, as you're saying, on different mountains. We were doing different things. And so now their bonding, part of their bonding was drugs. And they were doing drugs together, and it was a breakdown in their relationship, and they ended up parting ways and going different ways. But he said he always loved her and wanted to be, there. He just couldn't be in that environment and be along the pattern of self-destruction. And of course, you find out that she dies in the bathtub and has something. I don't know what they said it was, but and then right after that, his daughter dies and his son dies, and three deaths. And he was just like, he was talking about that they bonded through these things, but then, they couldn't go where each other were going, and he didn't want to do it anymore, and she continued wanting to do it, and she stayed doing it till the time. And
imagine that's what happens, even if it's not about drugs. It's just I don't want to. She has a degree now. I don't want to go to school.
You going to church now? I don't want to go to church.
I'm going to church now. You don't want to go to church now.
You're into things I'm not into anymore.
I want a house.
I want an apartment. Well, not me, but
yeah, right.
No, I'm just giving examples.
Or I want a condo. I want a
Honda, and you're
I want a car.
I want a whole dealership. It doesn't take all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I remember my older kids, their dad, he was just like, no, I just want to live in this small town. I don't need much, and this is fine for me. And I was like, I wasn't thinking it was, I would have never seen, he could see where I was going before I could see where I was going.
Yeah.
And he was just fine with the things that he was with. And I was just thinking God had so much more for me that, I can see where we weren't going to be able to not go together, but grow together. Yeah. And you have to realize, too, why somebody wants you to grow. Ultimately, you being on time, does that help you or them? You saving money and you making wise choices, have good credit, does that help you or them? It helps both of you when you're together and you both have it. It's not like one person carries everything. You guys can work together and help each other and be balanced. And you both bring something to the table. Well, Dr. Ryeal, we're super excited. Wasn't this good, you guys? Some good therapy, some good love talk, some good real talk. This is really fun. We have to have you back again.
Absolutely.
We appreciate all your wisdom and knowledge. We didn't talk about sex that much this time, so we gotta have to come back and talk about sex.
I definitely got to come back.
We have to have him talk about sex.
Yes.
So we're excited.
Absolutely.
We love you. We appreciate you. You guys give it up for Dr. Ryeal Simms.
Thank you.
Wow. I want you guys to grab an offering.
Yes.
Grab an offering. Get something that means something to you. And we are saying, Lord, help us not be stuck. Help us to go to the next level. Let us see ourselves, God, that we can transform and change into the image that you called us to be in. And I want you to grab, listen, whether you do 37, 47, 67, 77, grab your best double-digit 7. Like double-digit 7? 37, 77, 47, 77. And I want you to go sow it. And I want you to pray as we're praying, thanking God for what he has for us, but thanking God for growth. And pray for him to elevate us so we will not stay stuck, will not stay in the place where we're familiar, but we will go to greater heights in him. And come back, and I'm going to pray for you. They're going to put your giving information on the screen. Go give and come right back, and I'll pray for you then. guys hear me good? Are you guys hearing me? Okay. Well, we are super excited. Let me pray for you. I really enjoyed having Dr. Ryeal here with us, just talking about our coping bonding mechanisms, our chemical composites of our CEO, as he calls it. The way the Lord made us, and the fact that we don't have to, it's not like we're falling into love, but we can maintain the love God has given us. Amen. And love is a verb, and we should be doing more verbs. Go and do more fun things. But let's talk real quick. Let me just pray for us real quickly. And if you need more information about some of the things we talked about too, you can join our Telegram group. It's Love Life, and you can go to spiritlifechurchla.org, and you can connect with us on our Telegram group and get more information. We're going to be sending out healthy relationship tips for you guys, so feel free to join us, okay? So there's on the screen right now, there's our global community in Telegram. So feel free to put your phone up there and the camera, click on it, join our Telegram group, and you can get more information about really healthy relationships. And you can join our podcast if you're ever in town here on Tuesdays, which is called True Story. So praise God. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for your people. Thank you for your blessing. Thank you for your design of us, your mechanism, Lord, of action that allows us to bond, to change, to learn new habits, to transform, to heal, to say yes, to say no, to give ourselves permission to heal, permission to forgive, permission to grow. And Lord, I thank you that we are able to bond with you and that we're never alone. I cancel loneliness. I cancel desperation. I cancel the feelings of rejection and pride that tries to harm our life. Lord, touch us in a way we've never been touched before. Heal us and deliver us, oh God, today, that we will be able to have whole, healthy relationships. In Jesus' name we pray. And all God's people said, Amen. Thank you for joining us for Lifeline TNT's True Story. Join us next Tuesday for our podcast. Today we had Dr. Ryeal Simms, and he is a great blessing to us in the body of Christ. We thank God for him. And we will see you guys next week. God bless you. 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 Have a great day.
Devil can't hold me back. We gon' set this thing on fire. Devil can't hold me back. We gon' set this thing on fire. Lay hands on diseases, yeah, that sickness is gon' die. Jesus interceding at the right hand of the Father. So my